Welcome back. My name is Chris, and I'm bringing you the December 2025 edition of NetSuite News. And before I get into anything, I do just want to make sure that you are aware of the fact that for the next several weeks until the end of December, I do have a holiday sale running. So if you're interested in getting any courses or packages, there's a coupon, which is ST 2025. If you put that on anything you're purchasing on the SuperTraining website, you will get 25% off. So if you've been thinking about buying anything or maybe buying something for a coworker or a loved one, now's the time to take advantage of it. So with that out of the way, let's get to the actual content of this video. And I'll be totally upfront. December is a pretty slow month for NetSuite at least. So there's not that much news to comment on, but there's been a few particular resources that I thought were interesting in the last few weeks. So I wanted to comment on them here. Starting off with this book I have in front of me, which is NetSuite for Consultants, written by Peter Reese. So Peter, if you don't already know, is an actual Oracle NetSuite consultant. He's been around for ages. This is the third edition of this book. So he's been making training content for NetSuite for quite some time. And he reached out to me a few weeks ago. He was kind enough to send me a free copy of this. So I read through it in the last week and I wanted to comment on that here. I don't have some deal or partnership with him particularly, but I love training NetSuite and I love when other people are helping out people in the community to learn more about NetSuite. So I'm always happy to promote any kind of useful training content. And I did find that this was a useful book. It basically, as the name implies, it's not meant for brand new users. It's assuming you know something about the system, and it's trying to get you to what I would consider more that intermediate level of understanding how to actually configure the system, what is the proper methodology, what are some of the key components and modules in NetSuite that you should be familiar with if you're intending to do an implementation, whether for your own company or as an actual consultant working either independently or maybe for a consulting firm. So this is something that if you're trying to find one resource that you can kind of get the entire picture all in one place, I do think this is helpful, as opposed to, let's say, some of my training content where it's really split up amongst so many different videos and courses that all focus on one particular area. So it can be a little bit discombobulating to know where to start. This is it'll guide you through that entire process. And he definitely comments on a number of things in the book that I just don't get into in any of my videos. So especially for anyone who prefers a more written format for learning, I would highly recommend you check out the book. I'll have a link for that down in the description below. You can check it out and see if it's something useful for you. Moving on from that, I want to comment on an article that recently came out specifically on NetSuite ERP pricing. So this is not just for new clients that are signing up for NetSuite, but also for existing clients that need to renew their contracts and negotiate with NetSuite on their pricing. When it comes to pricing for NetSuite, it can be a convoluted mess. It's very difficult, and in my opinion, they intentionally make it a bit tricky to understand and to appropriately navigate how your pricing works. The various contracts, the modules, the number of users you have, all of these various things. So it's always useful to get as much of an understanding of how the pricing works and some tricks to try to negotiate the best price you can possibly get. Now, I do have a YouTube video on this subject, but when I came across this article a couple weeks ago, which I'll include a link for it down below, I found that they organized it in a way that was very simple, easy to understand, and really did include some useful tips and some things I don't mention at all in my YouTube video to help you navigate the pricing process with NetSuite. So again, even if you are a new client, an existing client, or even just a consultant that can be helpful as a guide for your clients to go through their own pricing negotiation, I think this is useful for pretty much everyone to have at least some grasp on. The next thing I want to talk about is an interview from SuiteWorld with Evan Goldberg, and I'm going to have a link for that down below. Now, SuiteWorld did occur a couple months ago, but this particular interview only came out a couple weeks ago, so something I just came across. And what I thought was interesting about it was actually not the interview itself, because I didn't find it was the best interview that could have been done. And it's almost that aspect of it that I did find interesting, was the fact that this interview was done by what, from I can tell, is a relatively small podcast called Tech Zine. And they managed to get an interview with Evan Goldberg himself, obviously the co-founder of NetSuite, on the subject of NetSuite Next. And what I thought was interesting about that was to have what, again, appears to be a pretty small podcast getting an interview with the founder of NetSuite is something that kind of opened up my eyes to, well, maybe I could do an interview with him or some of the other heavy hitters in the NetSuite ecosystem, some of the CEOs of the major consulting firms, or people like Peter Rees, or any of these kind of well-known luminaries in the NetSuite ecosystem. And these are the kind of people that I could interview and hopefully provide some sort of, at least something interesting or maybe insight to my audience. And certainly for the people watching this NetSuite News video, you're probably my core demographic. So if you do think that would be useful for you and you're interested in seeing me interview some of these more higher end individuals in the NetSuite ecosystem, please let me know down in the comments below. Obviously, if I get an opportunity to interview Evan Goldberg, I'll take advantage of that. But there's plenty of people I could interview. And if there's a particular angle, like you want to advance your NetSuite career and you'd like me to interview recruiters or that kind of individual, I can interview whoever you guys want me to. Just let me know. And I'm more than happy to pursue that. I think it'd be a lot of fun to start doing interviews as a part of this channel. So definitely let me know down in the comments below. And the last thing I want to talk about for this video is I always do a super training highlight. And in this particular video, I wanted to comment on a course I've actually had for about a year now, which is my SuiteScript Developers course. So if you've been following my channel and my courses, you probably know I really stick on the functional side, and I didn't feel comfortable enough to make an entire course from a technical standpoint for developers. So I got a close friend of mine, Zach Romancic, who's an absolutely superb SuiteScript developer, to help me make a full kind of intro/intermediate course for developers. So assuming you have JavaScript knowledge, but you want to then break into SuiteScript specifically, he goes through all that. It's a beefy course. There's so much good information in there. And the reason I'm promoting it in this video is because for the longest time, I had it priced just based on the size of the course at $200. And in evaluating it, I realized that really as a kind of more beginner and intermediate for SuiteScript developer, it should be priced at a lower level. So I brought it down from $200 to $100 just about a week ago. And that obviously is somewhat of a deal considering how much content's in there. And the fact that right now I am running this holiday sale, you can now get the course for basically $75. So for anyone who's already a programmer and like to really hone their skills as a SuiteScript developer, or maybe you're a functional consultant and you'd like to start breaking into the technical side, this is a perfect course to take advantage of that. And now's the perfect time to do so. So I will include a link for that course down below, and I'd love to see you guys on it. So that wraps up this particular video. If you found it helpful, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And with all that in mind, I hope to see you in the next video.